Have you ever felt the weight of time pressing in, not just on your schedule, but on your spirit? It's not the noise of the world that overwhelms. It's the silence of delay. It's the morning after another prayer has gone unanswered, the ache that returns when life looks the same despite all your hopes. You look around and it seems like everyone else is moving, getting married, finding healing, stepping into purpose, while you remain in the same room, staring at the same door, still waiting. There is a pressure in that pause, a tension that wraps itself around your chest. And the longer you sit in that stillness, the louder the internal voices grow. You're behind, you missed your chance, God's not coming. These whispers wear you down, not because they're true, but because they feel true. Time becomes the enemy, and your own heart begins to question the pace of heaven. It's in these moments, these quiet, heavy spaces, that God wants to whisper something deeper than reassurance. He wants to give you revelation. The pressure you feel is not punishment. It's not a sign of rejection or neglect. It's an invitation to listen differently. Because God speaks in the slow. God moves in silence. And what feels like delay is often divine design. When you stop running from the weight and begin resting in it, something holy starts to unfold. God does not operate on your clock. He never has and never will. His ways are not a reaction to your schedule. His love is not proven by how fast he answers, but by how close he stays when everything is still. When the clock feels loud and your heart grows weary, you have not been abandoned. You are being drawn into a deeper dependence. This world tells you that waiting is wasting, that if you're not producing, achieving, or advancing, you're falling behind. But heaven tells a different story. In God's kingdom, the soil of waiting is where trust is planted, watered, and rooted. It is where faith is formed, not in the flash of miracles, but in the slow burn of unseen progress. You are not behind. You are being built. You are not forgotten. You are being formed. And while the noise of your inner alarm might be screaming, "Do something," God is gently saying, "Be still." His stillness is not absence. It is intimacy. His slowness is not neglect. It is nurture. He is not delaying because he is distant. He is delaying because he is near, and working in ways your eyes cannot yet see. The truth is, your soul was never designed to move at the pace of modern life. We were not created to race time, but to walk with eternity. That's why this waiting hurts so deeply. It presses on a place inside you that longs for movement but needs rest. And in that contradiction, God does his best work. He unearths the fears we hide under busyness. He exposes the lies we've believed about what matters. He detoxes our dependency on outcomes and recenters us on intimacy. What if this delay is not about something being withheld from you, but something being developed within you? What if the miracle isn't just what you're waiting for, but who you are becoming while you wait? Every minute that feels empty is actually filled with divine intention. Every day that passes in silence is a day God is speaking. Just not in the way you expected. Maybe the clock feels loud because your soul is craving peace. Maybe the calendar looks blank because God is clearing space for something sacred. And maybe, just maybe, the waiting is not about the destination at all, but about being transformed for the journey. So this morning, let yourself pause, not with dread, but with trust. Let yourself breathe, not because the answer has arrived, but because God already has. He is here, in the slowness, in the silence, in the tension between what you know and what you hope for. He is shaping something deeper than comfort. He is shaping character. He is not rushing because love doesn't hurry. Love waits. And that includes God's love for you. Let that settle in your spirit. You are not being punished. You are not forgotten. You are being refined. You are being wrapped in a process that eternity understands, but your mind cannot always comprehend. This is where faith is forged, in the fire of the unanswered, in the quiet of the long road. Don't let the ticking of the clock drown out the truth of His voice. Don't let the pace of the world convince you that something is wrong with your story. You are not late. You are being led, slowly, lovingly. Perfect God, in this moment, I come before you with an open heart. The days have felt long, the nights even longer, and the silence has been louder than words. But I know you are still God in the wait. I know you are working even when I don't see it. I surrender my timelines, my expectations, and my anxiety. I release the fear that I'm missing out, that I'm falling behind, that I've been overlooked. I choose to trust you again, not just with the outcome, but with the process. Teach me to find peace in the pause, purpose in the process, and you in the silence. Let my soul rest in the truth that you are my shepherd and I lack nothing. Help me to believe that this wait is not empty, but full of your presence and promises. What feelings rise up in you when life feels paused? How might God be trying to meet you in this moment of stillness? What would it look like to trust God's pace today? Wait for the Lord. Be strong and take heart. Psalm 27:14. The Lord is my shepherd. I lack nothing. In quietness and trust is your strength. Isaiah 30:15. Today, breathe deeply. Whisper this from your heart. God, help me release the pressure of time and rest in your pace. Then write down one thing you've been rushing and surrender it to Him. Share this with someone else who feels behind. Let them know they're not alone, and neither are you. There's a deep ache that lives in the soul when the answer is still not yet. It's not just disappointment, it's disorientation. You begin to question whether you heard God right in the first place. Was that dream really from Him? Was that promise something I made up to comfort myself? You replay prayers you've spoken through tears. You scroll through old journal entries and wonder if the words you once clung to still hold weight. The silence stretches longer and it starts to feel personal, not just delayed, but denied. Hope feels fragile now, like a candle flickering under wind. You don't want to stop believing, but it's harder to keep holding on when everything in your life still looks the same. The ache of still nothing is different than grief. It's the weariness that comes from the long in-between. The in-between miracle and manifestation, the in-between promise and provision. And in that in-between, the enemy doesn't waste time. He whispers, "It's never going to happen. You prayed wrong." God is tired of you asking, and without even realizing it, you start to shrink your prayers to match your disappointments instead of your faith. But what if this moment, this exact pain of nothing changing, is holy ground? What if God is allowing this ache to enlarge your heart, not diminish it? You are not weak because you're tired of waiting. You are not a failure because your faith has moments of frustration. Jesus wept. David cried out. Even Job sat in ashes wondering where God had gone. This part of the journey isn't about being strong every second. It's about being honest. God can handle your groans. He welcomes your sighs. He holds every unanswered prayer like seed, buried but not forgotten. Sometimes the hardest thing is not the waiting, but the silence. The way heaven can feel sealed off. The way every door stays shut even after you've knocked until your knuckles bleed. But silence is not absence, and delay is not death. It's just that we've been trained by the world to equate waiting with wasting. But heaven sees something different. Heaven sees strength being built in secret. Roots growing in unseen soil, character being forged in a fire that doesn't glow with visible flames. Your waiting has weight. It matters, it counts, and it is not being overlooked by the one who counts every hair on your head and stores every tear in his bottle. You are not alone in the ache. God is sitting in it with you, quietly, faithfully, lovingly. Maybe you've started to question your own worth in the waiting. You think if you were more faithful, more holy, more something, maybe the answer would have come by now. But God's movement isn't a reward for spiritual performance. He is not a vending machine that dispenses breakthrough for perfect behavior. He is a father, and like any good father, he knows when to hold back the answer. Not to punish you, but to protect you, to deepen your dependence, to prepare your heart to carry what he's promised. There are things he's doing in the unseen that are more important than the thing you're waiting for. He's teaching you to anchor your hope in who he is, not in how fast he delivers. That's hard. It stretches the soul in painful ways, but it also strengthens you for what's coming. What if the delay is the mercy? What if the ache is the answer in disguise? And what if the silence is shaping you into someone who can receive more than you even asked for? God, I'm tired. I won't pretend I'm not. The waiting has worn me thin, and the silence has felt like rejection. I've prayed and believed, and still, here I am, unchanged, unanswered, undone. But even now I choose to lean in instead of walk away. I choose to believe that you are not punishing me with delay. You are preparing me through it. You are still writing my story, even when I can't read the next chapter. Give me strength to stay, courage to keep praying, faith to believe that still nothing is not the end, it's the in-between. I place my hope back in your hands today. I let go of my need for visible progress and receive your invisible grace. What unanswered prayer have you stopped bringing to God? Where have you allowed disappointment to silence your hope? Can you trust that God is still working even in the stillness? Hope deferred makes the heart sick, but a longing fulfilled is a tree of life. The Lord is good to those whose hope is in him, to the one who seeks him. Be joyful in hope, patient in affliction, faithful in prayer. Salvation, Romans 12:12. Today, bring that silent ache back into the light. Speak to God about the one thing you've buried under disappointment. Write it in your journal. Whisper it in prayer. Share it with someone safe. And remember, your ache is not wasted. It is sacred ground where heaven is drawing near. Waiting doesn't feel brave. It often feels passive, powerless, and exhausting. But Scripture tells a different story. Psalm 27:14 says, "Wait for the Lord. Be strong and take heart and wait for the Lord." In God's eyes, waiting isn't weakness, it's warfare. It's choosing to stand when everything in you wants to run. It's choosing to stay present when your emotions scream for distraction. It's deciding to trust when the answers aren't arriving on your timeline. This kind of waiting isn't about sitting idly by. It's about anchoring your soul to something eternal in the midst of earthly silence. To wait for the Lord means to tether your heart to his character, not to your circumstances. It's to declare, even here, even now, I believe you are good. That's not easy when everything in you feels tired, but this kind of strength doesn't come from striving. It comes from surrender. It is born in the hidden moments when you choose to believe again, even if it's just a whisper. Waiting with strength is not a denial of your pain. It's an act of worship in the middle of it. It's holding on, not because you're fearless, but because you've been held. There's a sacred tension in the space between what you pray for and when it comes to pass. That tension stretches your heart, and when you let it, it shapes your faith into something fierce and beautiful. That's why the psalmist doesn't just say, wait. He says, be strong and take heart, because the waiting will try to wear you down. It will try to make you numb. But God calls you to press in, not check out, to take heart, not just because the promise is coming, but because the promised keeper is already present. God is not asking you to be strong in your own might. He's inviting you to draw strength from his presence. That's the secret. You don't wait alone. You wait with the God who moves mountains with a whisper and calms storms with a word. He is not asking you to pretend the waiting. He is asking you to bring the pain to him, to let him hold it with you, and to choose trust even in trembling. The world tells you that strong people take control, but in the kingdom of God, strength is measured differently. Real strength is quiet. It shows up in prayers whispered through tears. It stands when everything says sit down. It holds hope when logic says, let go. This strength isn't loud, it's rooted. And the only way to grow it is by being planted in the waiting. That's where the real transformation happens, not when the miracle arrives, but when your spirit says, even if it doesn't, I will still believe. That's the kind of strength that shakes hell. That's the kind of waiting God honors. When your prayers aren't performances, but pleadings. When your praise rises not from outcomes, but from intimacy. When you choose to wait with strength, you're choosing to say, God, I trust you more than I trust what I see. And that kind of trust is the foundation for every breakthrough. God, I want to wait with strength, but I feel so tired. Help me take heart today, not because the wait is easy, but because you are in it with me. Teach me that waiting isn't weak, it's worship. Remind me that you are not a God who forgets, you are a God who forms. While I wait, form my character. While I wait, remind me that this pause is not passive, it's powerful. Give me the courage to take heart, to stay soft, to keep showing up in prayer, even when the answers delay. Make me strong, not by removing the weight, but by revealing your strength within it. Where in your life do you feel most weary from waiting? How would it change your perspective if you believed waiting was a form of spiritual strength? What would it mean to take heart today instead of giving up? Wait for the Lord. Be strong and take heart and wait for the Lord. Psalm 27:14. Those who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. Isaiah 40:31. The Lord gives strength to his people. The Lord blesses his people with peace. Psalm 29:11. Today, choose to wait with a posture of strength. Sit quietly with your journal and write this simple declaration. God, I trust you more than I trust what I see. Let that sentence guide your prayers. Let it steady your spirit. And if the waiting feels heavy, remember, you're not waiting alone. God is in the stillness, and he's not done yet. There's a hidden fear buried in every long season of waiting. The fear of being forgotten. It's not just that the answer hasn't come. It's the aching suspicion that maybe God has moved on to someone else. That maybe your voice isn't loud enough, your prayers not holy enough, your faith not strong enough to hold his attention. You watch others receive breakthroughs and wonder if there's something wrong with you, if you've somehow disqualified yourself from his goodness. But the truth is this: God does not forget his children, not for a second. His memory is not limited by time, nor is his love distracted by someone else's story. Your name is engraved on the palms of his hands. His eyes have never left you. In fact, it's often in the moments when you feel most unseen that God is doing his most personal work. He's not ignoring you, he's preparing you. God's silence is not a sign of absence. It's often a strategy of intimacy. Think of the gardener who plants a seed. After it's buried, there's a season where nothing seems to happen. The soil looks the same, day after day, but beneath the surface, life is stirring. Roots are stretching, foundations are being formed. Just because you can't see growth doesn't mean it's not happening. And just because you can't hear God doesn't mean he's not speaking. He's speaking in deeper ways. In stillness, in dreams, in shaping your soul so you'll be able to carry the promise when it arrives. You have not been forgotten. You are being refined. God is watching over you with more attention than you could ever imagine. You are not overlooked. You are being lovingly, intentionally held in the waiting. When it feels like your prayers hit the ceiling, remember that they rise like incense before the throne of heaven. Not one word you've uttered in pain has been lost. Not one tear has gone unnoticed. The God who numbered your hairs and formed you in the womb is not about to abandon you now. He's not disappointed in your weariness. He's not frustrated by your questions. He welcomes them. He sits with you in the ache, even when you can't feel him. He's the shepherd who walks at your pace, not the pace of your fears. You are seen, even in silence. You are loved, even in delay. You are remembered, even when the calendar keeps turning with no sign of change. What you call delay, heaven calls design. And what you call forgotten, heaven calls focused. God hasn't turned away. He's drawing you deeper into the kind of faith that doesn't need proof to believe. God, when the silence stretches long and the weight feels unbearable, help me remember that you are still with me. Remind me that being quiet doesn't mean being forgotten, that your love doesn't fade in the dark. Reassure my heart that I am held even when I feel invisible. When doubt creeps in and whispers that I've been overlooked, speak louder with your truth. Let your presence wrap around my loneliness like a blanket. Show me that the delay is not a dismissal, it's a divine embrace. Let me trust that my name is still spoken in heaven, that my life is not forgotten, and that your memory is full of every moment you and I have shared. Where do you feel most unseen right now? What lie has the enemy tried to plant in the silence? Can you believe that God still sees you, still loves you, still remembers every word you've prayed? Can a mother forget the baby at her breast? Though she may forget, I will not forget you. Isaiah 49:15. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. You keep track of all my sorrows. You have collected all my tears in your bottle. Psalm 56:8. Today, pause and simply say this to yourself out loud. I have not been forgotten. Write it down, repeat it in your prayers, and share it with someone else who feels invisible. God remembers. And He's not done writing your story. The shepherd never rushes. That truth is both comforting and frustrating. When you're desperate for answers, when your heart is weary from delay, it's tempting to equate God's slowness with distance. You cry out for guidance, but the response feels delayed. You beg for breakthrough, but doors remain closed. And in those moments, the thought creeps in, maybe God isn't moving at all. But Psalm 23 tells a different story. The Lord is my shepherd, I lack nothing. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. God leads, not drives. He guides, not demands. And His pace is always perfect, even when it feels painfully slow to our anxious hearts. His delay is not a denial, it's a deepening. He knows when your soul needs rest more than results. He sees the tired places in you that you've tried to ignore, and so instead of rushing you forward, He lovingly slows you down to restore you from the inside out. When a shepherd leads, it's not about speed, it's about care. The sheep don't dictate the journey, the shepherd does. And because the shepherd knows where the wolves hide, where the cliffs drop off, and where the good water flows, He chooses the path and the pace. We may want to sprint ahead into answers, achievements, and outcomes, but God knows that if we move too fast, we'll miss the moments meant to form us. We'll skip the green pastures He prepared not just for provision but for healing. We'll bypass the still waters where He wants to calm the storms inside of us before we face the storms ahead. The shepherd's pace protects us from our own impatience. And though it may feel like He's taking too long, the truth is, He's walking right beside you, never leaving, always watching, and always moving at the rhythm of love. It's easy to get discouraged when others seem to be passing you by. Their prayers are answered, their paths seem clear, and your life still feels like it's in limbo. But the shepherd isn't comparing your journey to anyone else's. He's focused on your heart, your healing, your growth. His slowness is intentional, because He's not just taking you somewhere, He's shaping who you'll be when you arrive. Every step is deliberate, every delay is laced with mercy, every pause is an invitation to trust. And while it may not make sense to your timeline, it fits perfectly within His eternal design. His goal isn't to rush you toward an outcome, it's to walk with you into wholeness. And in every quiet moment, in every stretch of stillness, He's saying, you're safe with me. You're not behind, you're being led. That's the promise of Psalm 23. Not just that you'll get somewhere, but that you'll never walk alone. God, thank you for being a shepherd who doesn't rush me. Forgive me for the times I've confused your slowness with distance. I admit that I've wanted fast answers more than deep healing. I've wanted movement more than intimacy. But today I choose to trust your pace. I choose to believe that the green pastures are not delays, they are gifts. That the still waters are not detours, they are sacred pauses. Teach me to walk beside you instead of ahead of you. Remind me that your timing is not based on pressure, but on purpose. Let my soul settle into the rhythm of grace, not the race of the world. In what areas of your life have you been frustrated by God's slowness? How would it feel to believe that His delay is actually a form of deep care? What would it look like to match your pace to His today? He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. He refreshes my soul. Psalm 23, 2-3. The Lord is my shepherd. I lack nothing. In repentance and rest is your salvation. In quietness and trust is your strength. Isaiah 30, verse 15. Today, release the need to rush. Let God's timing comfort you instead of confuse you. Write this down. The shepherd leads me in love. Say it aloud. Let it echo in your heart every time you feel impatient. You're not falling behind. You're being guided with tenderness, wisdom, and care. God, I've heard so many voices lately. Some have sounded like wisdom, but left me feeling defeated. Others have sounded like truth, but filled me with fear. Today I choose to listen to you instead. I reject the lie that I've been forgotten. I reject the fear that I'm falling behind. I reject the shame that says I should have done more, prayed better, waited less. Your voice says I am beloved. Your voice says I am held. Your voice says I am exactly where I need to be. So today I rest in your truth. I close my ears to confusion and open my heart to clarity. Silence the enemy's whispers, Lord. Let your word be louder. Let your peace be deeper. Let your presence be nearer than ever before. Where have you been believing a lie about your delay? What truth from God's word do you need to replace that lie with today? How can you guard your heart in the waiting room from whispers that don't come from heaven? The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. I have come that they may have life. John 10:10. You will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. John 8:32. God is not a man that he should lie. Numbers 23:19. Today, write down every lie you've believed about this waiting season. Then beside each one, write God's truth from Scripture. Keep that list where you can see it. Let truth be your shield when whispers try to return. You're not behind. You're not too late. You are being beautifully and powerfully prepared for everything God still intends to do in and through you. There are seasons when God's delay feels almost cruel, when your heart is wide open, your prayers are genuine, and yet the answer continues to hide behind silence. It's in those spaces that our faith is not just tested but redefined. Pope Leo IV once wrote, "He delays because he's preparing what delay alone can deliver." That single line holds 1,000 truths. There are treasures that cannot be rushed. There are healings that take time to unfold. There are depths of character that only come through waiting. When God seems slow, he is often being surgical. He's not stalling, he's shaping. We often pray for deliverance, but God is far more interested in development. The thing you're waiting for may not be ready yet, or you may not be ready to receive it. Divine delays are not wasted days. They are sacred spaces where God prepares your hands, your heart, and your spirit to carry the weight of what's coming next. The lie says if God cared, he'd be faster. But love doesn't rush. A good father doesn't hand a child something heavy before they can hold it. God's pace is not meant to frustrate you. It's meant to form you. Think of Moses in the desert, Joseph in the prison, or Jesus himself in the tomb. All three experienced divine delay, but not one of them was forgotten. In fact, their greatest calling emerged after the season that looked like failure. What if that's true for you too? What if this delay is growing the very strength you'll need to sustain the promise? The Spirit of God isn't interested in temporary relief. He's interested in eternal transformation. He delays not to deny, but to deepen, to ensure that when the door opens, you walk through it with wisdom, not just excitement. He's not just preparing the answer for you, he's preparing you for the answer. And that changes everything. The longer the wait, the more beautiful the breakthrough, because in the delay, your roots go deep, your dependency becomes real, your identity gets anchored not in achievement, but in intimacy with God. Pope Leo V's insight isn't just poetic, it's prophetic. When you feel like everything is on pause, it's because something holy is being forged in the stillness. In heaven's economy, slowness often precedes glory, and while we resist the discomfort, God is working in dimensions we cannot see. Every second that feels wasted is being redeemed. Every moment of stillness is adding weight to the story He's writing with your life. So don't curse the delay, don't despise the hallway. Don't give up because the door hasn't opened yet. Let this waiting season become the womb of something sacred, because what God is preparing, only delay can deliver. God, I confess it's hard to trust your timing when everything in me wants answers now. But today, I surrender to your pace. I release my demand for speed and embrace the sacred slowness of your will. Forgive me for doubting your heart in the silence. I believe you are preparing something beautiful, something that could only be birthed through waiting. Teach me to trust in the delay, to find rest even when I can't see what's coming next. Root me deeply so I can carry the weight of what you're preparing. Help me not to resist the process, but to rest in it. What if the thing you're waiting for requires the delay? How has God used past seasons of waiting to shape you? What would it look like to see this current pause as protection rather than punishment? The Lord is good to those who wait for Him, to the soul who seeks Him. Yet the Lord longs to be gracious to you, therefore He will rise up to show you compassion. Isaiah 30:18. He has made everything beautiful in its time. Ecclesiastes 3:11. Today, take a moment to breathe slowly. Write down one way God might be forming you through this delay. Then thank Him, not just for what's coming, but for how He's preparing you to receive it. You're not stuck. You're being sanctified. There comes a moment in every season of waiting when the silence begins to echo louder than your prayers, not because you've stopped believing in God, but because the wait starts to feel painfully pointless. You've prayed, you've trusted, you've kept showing up, and still nothing seems to move. That's when doubt begins to whisper, is this doing anything? Is God even listening? Have I wasted my time, my hope? When the wait feels wasteful, the enemy sees an opening. He plants seeds of despair, hoping you'll abandon the field before the harvest comes. But heaven's view is different. Heaven sees the slow seasons as sacred ground, the hidden chapters as holy ones. God is not ignoring your prayers. He's investing in your becoming. He's using the delay to grow roots deep enough to hold the weight of the blessing. What feels invisible is often the most transformative. You are not waiting in vain. You are being prepared. God is more concerned with what's happening in you than what's happening for you. That's why the wait feels long. It's not a delay in His love. It's a deepening of His work. While you wait, you're learning how to trust without guarantees, how to worship without rewards, how to remain faithful when nothing seems to shift. These are not wasted lessons. They are soul-deep truths that can only be formed in the quiet. You're becoming someone who carries peace in the face of uncertainty, who loves God not because He moves quickly, but because He stays close. And when the breakthrough does come, it won't define you. It will confirm what God has already done within you. This season isn't a setback. It's a sacred shaping. It's where your motives are refined, your endurance is stretched, and your heart becomes fully His. The wait might be long, but the growth is lasting. Nothing is wasted in God's hands, not even this. The world glorifies fast outcomes and visible success, but the kingdom of God is built in hidden places. Think of Jesus, unseen for 30 years before His public ministry. Think of David, anointed but then sent back to the fields. Think of Paul, withdrawn into the wilderness after his conversion. Their greatest preparation happened when no one was watching. And so it is with you. This waiting isn't a gap in your story. It is the ground beneath your future calling. You are not overlooked. You are being deeply and intentionally formed. God knows exactly what He's doing. He's cultivating humility, compassion, and quiet confidence. He's pulling up the shallow roots and anchoring you in something eternal. So when your moment comes, you'll carry not just the blessing but the character to sustain it. This is not punishment. This is planting. And the harvest will be beautiful because the soil has been made ready by surrender, not by speed. God, I confess that there have been days when I've looked at this waiting season and felt like it was all for nothing. I've wondered if you were listening, if my prayers were lost in the silence, if I somehow missed the moment you planned for me. But today, I choose to believe that you are not wasting any of it. I surrender the belief that delay equals denial. I open my hands to receive whatever it is you're forming in me. Give me eyes to see the sacred in the slow. Give me a heart that doesn't rush past what you're doing just because I don't understand it yet. I want to be faithful here, not just to get through it, but to grow in it. What might God be forming in you right now that could only happen in the wait? How is your heart becoming more like His because of this process? Can you choose to bless the delay rather than curse it today? Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. Those who sow in tears will reap with songs of joy. Be still before the Lord and wait patiently for Him. Psalm 37, verse 7. Today, take 10 minutes to write down how you've grown during this waiting season. Give thanks not just for what's coming, but for how far God has already brought you. The wait isn't wasted. It's woven with purpose. There's a lie that creeps in when the waiting grows long. It says your story has stalled. You look at the pages of your life and they feel blank. No new chapters, no new miracles, just the same old questions, looping like a silent prayer you're not even sure God hears anymore. You wonder if maybe the story was exciting once, but now the pen has dropped, the author has left, and you're stuck in an endless middle. But friend, the truth is far more beautiful than that. You are still in the story. The ink is still wet. The author is still writing. What feels like a pause is often a plot twist in the making, and what seems like a delay is actually divine pacing. You haven't been abandoned. You haven't missed it. You're still right in the center of God's attention. He's not done. He's never done with the ones He loves. You're still being written into glory. You see, God doesn't write stories the way we expect. He inserts silence where we'd insert speeches. He uses desert seasons where we'd choose mountaintops. He builds slow, on purpose, so that the foundation can hold the weight of eternity. When nothing feels new, it doesn't mean your story is over. It means God is crafting something deeper than you can yet understand. This chapter may feel dull, but it's doing something crucial. It's building trust. It's rooting identity. It's stretching patience. Don't flip ahead. Don't try to edit the timeline. Don't assume this chapter is meaningless just because it's quiet. God specializes in turning stillness into strength, and when the next page finally turns, you'll realize that what seemed like silence was actually setup. You've never been forgotten in the narrative. You're still being carried by the hand that holds the beginning, the middle, and the beautiful end. You are not just a character in your story. You are a vessel in His. And He is the author who never skips a scene. Every prayer you've whispered, every tear you've cried, every moment you've surrendered, it's all written in. Nothing is forgotten. Nothing is wasted. And nothing is too small for Him to use. Even now, as you sit in this uncertain space, the next line is forming. The next breakthrough is being designed. The next moment of joy is being planted, watered, and prepared. Just because you don't see the next paragraph doesn't mean it isn't already written. God is not trying to rush you to the ending. He's walking with you through every sentence. So trust the pen in His hand. Trust that even now, when it all feels still, He's still speaking. And His word never returns void. Your life is still unfolding in His grace. God, when I can't see what you're writing, help me to still believe you're near. When the silence feels long and the page looks empty, remind me that you are still the author of my days. I choose to trust that this part of the story matters, even if I don't understand how. I give you the pen again. Write what you will. Lead me line by line. Keep me anchored in the truth, that I'm not forgotten in the plot, that I'm still part of a divine and holy narrative you are unfolding with tenderness and purpose. What chapter of your life feels the most stuck right now? Can you believe that God is still writing, even when the storyline feels slow? What would it look like to live today as if your next paragraph is already being prepared? Your eyes saw my unformed body. All the days ordained for me were written in your book. Being confident of this, that He who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion. The word of the Lord stands forever. 1 Peter 1:25. Today, write a note to yourself from God's perspective, reminding you that He's not done with your story. Seal it. Date it. Read it when you need to remember. The author is still writing. God's timing rarely feels comfortable. It almost never feels fast. When we cry out for breakthrough, we want it now. When we plead for healing, we long for it instantly. But over and over in Scripture, we're shown a deeper truth. God is never early, and He is never late. He arrives with perfect precision at the exact moment when it will glorify Him most and shape us best. In John 11, Jesus delays going to Lazarus even though He loves him deeply. To those watching, the delay feels cruel. But to Jesus, the delay is necessary, for the miracle that's coming will reveal more than a healing. It will reveal resurrection. Sometimes what feels like a missed moment is actually a setup for a greater one. We see absence, God sees alignment. We feel forgotten, God is making room for glory. His pace may confuse you, but His purpose will never fail you. You can trust His timing. It's hard to rest when we feel behind. Our clocks are always ticking. Jobs, relationships, dreams, expectations. And when life doesn't move as quickly as we hoped, anxiety starts to grow. We panic, we push, we try to force what only God can form. But divine timing isn't about speed, it's about alignment. When God moves, He aligns moments, hearts, circumstances, and outcomes in a way that no human plan ever could. His timing reveals His sovereignty. And sometimes, the wait is the very thing protecting you from stepping into something too soon. It's not a punishment, it's mercy. If Jesus had arrived earlier to Lazarus, people might have believed He could heal the sick. But because He waited, they believed He had power over death. The longer the wait, the greater the glory. The more confusing the delay, the more undeniable the testimony. You're not being delayed because you're forgotten. You're being positioned for something greater. Trusting God's timing doesn't mean pretending the waiting is easy. It means choosing to believe He's wise even when life feels wild. It means slowing your soul when the world tells you to rush. It means resting in the truth that God doesn't just know what you need. He knows when you need it. And when the time is right, nothing can stop it. Until then, trust that the same God who raised Lazarus is working in the silence. Trust that His delay is filled with love, not indifference. And trust that every second of this wait is wrapped in divine intentionality. Your life is not behind schedule. You are exactly where God has placed you for now. And when it's time to move, He'll open the door, part the waters, and raise what looked dead back to life. Don't give up before that moment. Don't rush past the resurrection He's preparing in you. God, I often feel like I'm falling behind. My heart races when I compare my life to others. I start to panic, to doubt, to question your pace. But today I choose to breathe. I choose to believe that you are never late. I surrender my timeline. I release my expectations. I rest in the truth that you are the author of time, and I can trust you with mine. Calm my racing thoughts and realign my heart with heaven's pace. Help me walk in step with you, not ahead, not behind, just with you. What's one area of your life where you feel God is late? How might your heart change if you truly believed his delay was preparation, not punishment? What would it look like to stop measuring your life by timelines and start measuring it by trust? Jesus answered, "Did I not tell you that if you believe, you will see the glory of God?" John 11:40. But as for me, I trust in you, O Lord. I say, you are my God. My times are in your hand. Closing thoughts on Mark 3:14-15. There is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens. Ecclesiastes 3:1. Today, write down 3 moments in your past when God's timing turned out better than your own. Use them as reminders that the God who was faithful then is still writing now. His timing is perfect, and so is his love. Some things take time to grow, and the most powerful growth happens underground, where no one can see it. That's what makes the waiting so difficult. You look around and nothing's changing. You pray, but the results are invisible. You try to trust, but your faith feels thin. That's when discouragement sets in. But just like a seed planted in the soil, what God is doing in you doesn't begin with applause or attention. It begins in darkness. It begins beneath the surface. Just because you don't see movement doesn't mean there's no progress. God is working deeply, forming roots before fruit, depth before display. What feels like inactivity is actually divine intention. God is building something that won't wither in the heat or collapse under pressure. He's growing spiritual strength, hidden from view but essential for what's ahead. The deeper the root, the greater the harvest. The quieter the work, the longer it lasts. Our culture celebrates instant results, quick wins, rapid growth, overnight change, but God's kingdom moves differently. It's like the mustard seed, the smallest of all seeds, yet it becomes the largest garden plant. Or like the yeast, working silently through the dough until everything is changed. God's transformation is slow, sure, and sacred. He's not just interested in what looks good. He's interested in what lasts. And what lasts must grow underground first. You may be in a season where it seems like nothing is happening, but heaven is not idle. The Spirit is nurturing your roots in hidden ways. He's strengthening your identity, purifying your motives, stretching your capacity, and increasing your hunger for Him. All of this happens where no one else can see it, but God sees. And when the time is right, what's been growing underground will break through with power. Don't pull up the seed too soon. Trust the soil, trust the silence, trust your Savior. There's comfort in knowing that God wastes nothing, not even the invisible. He sees every moment you've remained faithful when it would have been easier to give up. He's counted every tear that fell in the dark, every prayer whispered in exhaustion, every choice to love, serve, and believe without reward. Those moments matter. They are not small to Him. They are sacred. You may not see the fruit yet, but it's coming, and when it comes, it will not be shallow or short-living. It will be strong, beautiful, and deeply rooted in truth. What's growing underground is preparation for what's coming above. Don't rush the process. God's timing is perfect, and His methods are meticulous. He is not behind. He is building. He is not silent. He is sowing. And you are not forgotten. You are being formed. The harvest is coming, and when it does, it will be more than you ever imagined. God, when I feel like nothing's happening, help me believe that you're still working. When I can't see change, remind me that growth often starts underground. I surrender my need to see instant fruit and receive the beauty of hidden roots. Grow me quietly, deeply, and faithfully. Give me the patience to stay planted, the faith to trust your process, and the strength to endure the unseen season. Help me believe that the silence isn't abandonment, it's sacred cultivation. Where in your life have you felt unseen or unproductive? How might God be forming something powerful beneath the surface? Can you trust that invisible doesn't mean inactive? The kingdom of God is like a man who scattered seed on the ground, and the seed sprouts and grows, though he does not know how. So do not throw away your confidence. It will be richly rewarded. You need to persevere. Hebrews 10:35-36. Let your roots grow down into him, and let your lives be built on him. Colossians 2:7. Today, write down one unseen area of your life that you will commit to water with faith and patience. Remind yourself, what's growing underground matters more than what's visible right now. Stay planted, stay faithful. Your harvest is near. There comes a time in the waiting when even prayer feels heavy. Not because you don't believe in God, but because you're tired of repeating the same words with no visible answer. You wonder if he's grown tired of hearing them too. You sit in silence and feel the ache of unanswered cries. You open your mouth, but no words come. And in that place, the temptation is to stop praying altogether. But here's what's true. Prayer was never about perfect words. It's about honest heart. God doesn't need poetic sentences. He wants your sighs, your groans, your raw, unfiltered thoughts. Like David in the Psalms, you can say, "How long, Lord?" and still be deeply loved. You don't have to pretend. You don't have to package your pain. God is not afraid of your disappointment. He's not offended by your frustration. He welcomes it. He's a father who listens, even when you have nothing left to say. There is a kind of prayer that doesn't look like strength. It looks like surrender. It's the kind of prayer that sits quietly in the presence of God and simply says, "I'm still here." It's the prayer of breath, of tears, of showing up even when your faith feels like a whisper. God treasures that prayer. Scripture says the Spirit intercedes for us with groans too deep for words. That means even your silence can be a prayer when your heart remains open. You're not weak because you're tired of praying. You're growing. You're being refined. The tiredness itself is part of the offering. Every time you choose to sit before God, even if you say nothing at all, you're saying, "I still trust you." And that trust, however small, however shaky, is sacred to him. You don't need new words, you need honest presence, and that is more than enough for the one who hears before you even speak. Don't let the enemy shame you for the weariness in your prayers. Don't believe the lie that you're failing if you don't pray with enthusiasm every time. Jesus himself prayed with sweat like blood in Gethsemane. That wasn't polished prayer. It was gut-wrenching honesty, and it was holy. The power of prayer isn't in how loud or long it is. It's in your willingness to keep showing up, to keep placing your heart in God's hands even when it feels broken. The deepest prayers are not always spoken. They are lived. They are whispered through your persistence, your tears, your choice to not give up. That's what moves heaven. Not performance, but presence. Not perfection, but perseverance. If you're tired of praying, then let today's prayer be simple. God, I'm here. Help me stay. God, I don't have fancy words today. I don't even know what to pray anymore. But I'm still here. I still want you. I still need you. And I believe that's enough. Meet me in the quiet. Hold me in the exhaustion. Remind me that you hear even my silence. And when I have no strength to pray, remind me that you are praying for me. Help me stay close, even in the stillness. Teach me to believe that you're working, even when my prayers feel weak. What does your prayer life look like right now? Raw, silent, exhausted? How can you shift your perspective and see it as precious instead of lacking? Can you trust that God is listening, even when you have no words? The Spirit himself intercedes for us through wordless groans. Romans 8:26. I am worn out from my groaning. All night long I flood my bed with weeping. Psalm 6:6. Before a word is on my tongue, you, Lord, know it completely. Psalm 139:4. Today, sit quietly with God. You don't have to say a thing. Let your presence become your prayer. He sees, He hears, He answers. Even the prayers you can no longer speak. There's something especially painful about waiting when you feel unprotected, exposed to life's unpredictability, vulnerable to fear, unsure if God is really covering you. You may whisper, "If God is with me, why do I feel so uncovered in this delay?" But Psalm 91 offers a truth stronger than your fear. He who dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. This isn't poetic language, it's a promise. Even while you wait, you are covered. You are not spiritually naked or emotionally abandoned. The covering of God is not dependent on your pace, progress, or how strongly you feel His presence. His shelter is your inheritance, not your reward. You don't have to earn it, you simply dwell in it. And while you wait for answers, for healing, or for next steps, the one who hides you under His wings has not stepped away. You are seen, shielded, and surrounded. When life is delayed and uncertain, our reflex is to tighten control, to protect ourselves emotionally, spiritually, even physically. But God's protection doesn't ask you to control more. It invites you to rest deeper. The image of God in Psalm 91 isn't a God pacing or panicking. He is a refuge, a fortress, a shelter. That means you don't need to construct your own peace. You can step into His. Covering doesn't mean nothing hard will happen. It means nothing can separate you from His presence while it does. The attacks may come, the delays may stretch on, but the covering doesn't lift. You are still wrapped in His promises, His provision, and His unshakable care. Even when you can't feel it, even when fear screams louder than faith, His shadow is still over you, and in that shadow there is rest. Not because life is resolved, but because He is reliable. You may not see the shield, but you're walking in its strength. That's the mystery of divine protection. It's often invisible until you look back and realize what didn't touch you, what didn't break you, what should have taken you out, but didn't. You are not waiting uncovered, you are waiting within the presence of a God who doesn't sleep, doesn't forget, and doesn't step away. So don't let the silence make you question your safety. Don't let the delay make you doubt your covering. Just because the process is slow doesn't mean the protection is weak. You are still beneath His wings, and nothing can slip past the hands of the God who holds your life with everlasting care. God, when fear tries to convince me that I'm alone, remind me that I'm still covered. When I can't see the evidence of your protection, help me believe in its reality. You are my shelter, even when the storm is long. You are my fortress, even when the waiting feels vulnerable. I choose to dwell in your presence today. I choose to believe that being covered doesn't mean I'm spared from hard things, but that I'm secured in your love through them. What fears have made you question God's protection during your wait? How would it feel to trust that you're still covered even when you feel exposed? What promise from Psalm 91 speaks directly to your current waiting season? He will cover you with His feathers, and under His wings you will find refuge. Psalm 91:4. You are my hiding place, you will protect me from trouble. Psalm 32:7. The Lord is your keeper, the Lord is your shade at your right hand. Psalm 121 verse 5. Today, take a deep breath and say aloud, I am still covered. Write it down. Carry it in your heart. Let that truth be your shield while you wait. There's a moment in every waiting season when something shiny and quick tries to grab your attention. A shortcut, a distraction, a counterfeit comfort that promises to ease the ache of delay. It might be a rushed decision, an unhealthy relationship, a compromise disguised as wisdom, or a temporary fix that looks like progress. These distractions aren't always sinful. Sometimes they're simply misaligned, but their danger lies in this. They pull your heart away from trusting God's pace. They convince you that relief is better than transformation, that fast is better than faithful. This is the trap of distraction. It whispers that God is too slow, that you must act now or miss your chance. And if you're not careful, You'll trade peace for pressure, purpose for impulse, and spiritual alignment for emotional reaction. Waiting is hard, but settling for less than what God has promised will always cost more. Resist the urge to run ahead of grace. The enemy knows he can't steal your calling, so he tries to sabotage your waiting. He lures you with the illusion of movement, anything to keep you from resting in God's promises. Distraction doesn't always show up loud. Often it's quiet, dressed as productivity, busyness, or even religious striving, but it numbs your awareness of God's voice. It clouds your discernment. It causes you to forget what you are actually praying for. And before you know it, you're exhausted, confused, and further from peace than when you started. That's why stillness isn't weakness, it's warfare. To wait with focus is to resist every counterfeit solution. To stay aligned with God's timing is to declare with your actions, I trust you more than I trust myself. The distractions might be tempting, but they are not worthy. What God is preparing for you is holy, and it's worth protecting. Don't let distraction delay the deeper work God is doing in your soul. When temptation comes dressed as opportunity, pause. When urgency masks itself as divine timing, pause. The Spirit will always lead you with peace, not panic. That's how you know the difference. If something calls you out of rest, out of clarity, out of trust, it's not from God. His direction always brings alignment, not anxiety. His plans unfold with assurance, not chaos. So when the voices get loud, return to the stillness. When your heart feels rushed, return to His presence. You will never miss out by waiting on God. You only miss out when you trade His best for something quicker but smaller. Distraction may feel like relief now, but it cannot carry you through what's coming. Only God can, and He is never late. He is building something eternal. Stay focused, stay rooted, stay near to Him. God, I confess how easily I get pulled away from You in the waiting. When nothing seems to move, I reach for anything that promises motion. But today I release my grip on false comforts and counterfeit options. I choose to wait with clarity. I choose to stay aligned. Help me resist the distractions that only delay the deeper healing You want to bring. Quiet the noise that calls me to panic. Anchor me again in the peace of Your presence. What is pulling your attention away from God right now? What decision have you been rushing that needs to be surrendered instead? Can you pause long enough to hear the difference between God's peace and the world's pressure? Be still before the Lord and wait patiently for Him. My presence will go with you, and I will give you rest. Exodus 33:14. You will keep in perfect peace those whose minds are steadfast. Isaiah 26:3. Today, fast from distraction, even just for a few hours. Turn down the noise. Write out your real desires, then place them back into God's hands. Nothing you surrender to Him will ever be lost. There is a quiet strength in showing up every day, even when nothing seems to change. It takes courage to keep praying, keep believing, and keep moving forward when the wait stretches on and the answers remain hidden. These daily acts of obedience may feel small, even invisible, but in the kingdom of God, they carry eternal weight. Faithfulness in the mundane is never forgotten in heaven. When you choose to read Scripture even when it feels dry, when you whisper a prayer even when you're tired, when you love others even when your own heart is heavy, you are planting seeds that will bloom in time. Small obediences and long delays are not filler. They are formation. They are how God shapes your character, solidifies your trust, and prepares you for what's ahead. The miracle you're waiting for often grows from the ground of these quiet, hidden yeses. We tend to look for big moments to define our spiritual lives, but God treasures the quiet ones, the unseen moments of surrender, the silent decisions to trust again, the internal commitments to stay soft when bitterness tries to grow. These choices don't trend on social media, but they matter in eternity. You may never know how deeply your daily obedience is echoing into your future. You may not feel spiritual when you do the next faithful thing, But that's often when you're growing the most. Obedience isn't always loud. Sometimes it's waking up and choosing hope again. Sometimes it's forgiving when it still hurts. Sometimes it's just staying open to God, even when He feels silent. The fruit you'll one day carry is rooted in the faithfulness you're cultivating now. Keep showing up, keep surrendering. God sees it all, and He's using every quiet yes to write something eternal. You don't need a mountaintop moment to be in the will of God. You just need to be faithful with what's in front of you. That's how Noah built the ark. That's how Ruth followed Naomi. That's how Jesus carried the cross, one obedient step at a time. If you're in a season where all you can do is the next small thing, do it with your whole heart. Make the bed, say the prayer, send the encouragement, read the verse. These things aren't small to God. They're sacred. They're building something deep inside you. Your consistency in the delay is declaring to the world and to your own soul, I trust God even here. That's the kind of faith that shakes the gates of hell and pleases the heart of the Father. Don't underestimate what your faithfulness is forming. God, sometimes I want big signs and clear answers. I want movement and miracles. But today I choose obedience instead. I choose to be faithful in the small things, even when they feel insignificant. Remind me that you see every act of love, every moment of trust, every tiny yes. Let my faith grow not just through breakthrough, but through consistency. Help me keep showing up, not for results, but because you are worthy. What is one small thing God is asking you to do today? How might your obedience in this quiet season be preparing you for a future you can't yet see? Can you believe that your faithfulness is forming something powerful even when nothing feels different? Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, as working for the Lord. Do not despise these small beginnings, for the Lord rejoices to see the work begin. Zechariah 4:10. If you are faithful in little things, you will be faithful in large ones. Luke 16:10. Today, write down 3 small obediences you can commit to this week. Do them with intentional love. Trust that God sees and honors every step. Nothing done in faith is ever wasted. One of the greatest challenges in seasons of waiting is remembering how to live fully in the present moment. It's easy to slip into survival mode, pressing pause on joy, withholding celebration, holding your breath until the next door opens. But that's not how God designed you to live. You weren't created to just endure life while you wait. You were made to experience His goodness right here, right now. The promise of Psalm 23 isn't just about where you're going. It's about how God walks with you today. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. He restores my soul. These aren't future blessings. They're current realities. The waiting season doesn't have to be lifeless. It can be holy. It can be filled with beauty, laughter, rest, and peace. You don't have to wait for your breakthrough to enjoy God's presence. His goodness is not on hold. It's available this very moment. Living fully while you wait means choosing gratitude, even when the outcome is unclear. It means laughing without guilt, resting without apology, creating, connecting, and embracing the life you've been given, not the one you're hoping for someday. It means realizing that joy and longing can coexist. You can trust God with the future and still taste His goodness in the now. When you do, you begin to see waiting not as a place of loss, but as a place of sacred opportunity. It becomes a garden, not a desert. A place where wonder can grow, where intimacy with God deepens, and where you become more attuned to the small mercies all around you. Don't let waiting steal your now. Don't let the unknown silence your song. The enemy would love to see you numb, distracted, or discouraged, but heaven is cheering for your full-hearted presence. Even here, even now, this is where strength is built, not just in your endurance, but in your joy. To live fully while you wait is to declare that your soul is not dependent on circumstances, but on the unchanging love of your shepherd. It's a quiet rebellion against the lie that your life is on hold. It's an act of faith that says, God is enough for me today. You may not have all the answers, but you have access to peace. You may not see the finish line, but you are being led by the one who holds it. Living fully is not about forcing happiness. It's about choosing presence. It's about saying, even if nothing changes, I will find God here. Because if you can find Him here, you can find Him anywhere. And if you can worship in the waiting, you'll be ready for the promise when it comes. God, I've spent so much time hoping for what's next that I've forgotten to live in what's now. I've put my joy on pause, waiting for something to shift. But you are here. You are enough. Help me to live fully today, to see your goodness, to feel your presence, to receive the blessings that already surround me. Restore my soul in the stillness. Open my eyes to the beauty of this moment. Teach me to laugh again, to breathe again, to trust again, and to live, not in fear, but in fullness. What simple joy have you been postponing while you wait? How might living fully today deepen your trust in God's care for tomorrow? Can you allow yourself to receive peace and pleasure now, even if the breakthrough hasn't arrived yet? This is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Psalm 118, verse 24. I have come that they may have life and have it to the full. John 10:10. Taste and see that the Lord is good. Psalm 34:8. Today, take a walk with no destination. Enjoy a meal slowly. Speak words of kindness. Smile on purpose. Choose to be alive in this moment. God is with you here, and He is enough. There's a hallway between where you are and where God is leading you. A space that feels like in between, like not quite there yet. It's where doors haven't opened, answers haven't come, and clarity hasn't arrived. And in that hallway, the silence can feel deafening. You begin to wonder if you've been forgotten. You pace, you pray, you knock, but still the doors stay shut. It's in that space that many give up. Not because God failed, but because the waiting wore them down. But what if the hallway isn't a place of absence, but of presence? What if the waiting room is where God draws nearest, not to fix everything at once, but to hold you in the tension? You're not standing alone in this in-between. God is in the hallway with you, and His nearness is not dependent on open doors. It's available in closed ones too. Your waiting place can be a worship place. The hallway is holy ground, even if it doesn't feel like it. It's where false hopes fall away, where old idols are exposed, where dependence deepens. It's where the question shifts from, when will this end, to who am I becoming while I wait? The hallway isn't a punishment, it's preparation. It's where God shapes your courage, purifies your desires, and strengthens your spiritual legs so that when the door does open, you're ready to walk through it with maturity, not just momentum. God is not rushing the process. He's refining you in it. And while others might walk past your door, while opportunities might pass you by, the right door will never require striving. It will swing open with grace. Until then, you're not wasting time. You're walking with God. And that's never a detour. It's the main road to everything He has for you. You may not know how long you'll be in the hallway, but you do know who is with you in it. And that changes everything. You are accompanied. You are sustained. You are seen. Even when it feels like your life is on hold, heaven is not on pause. God is still speaking. He's still moving. And more importantly, He's still loving you through every step. The hallway is not your home, but it is a holy chapter. Don't rush out of it. Don't curse its stillness. Learn to find God not just at the destination, but in the process. When you discover His nearness in the hallway, you realize you've never really been waiting alone. You've been walking with the King, and He never wastes a single step. God, I've spent so much time staring at the next door that I've forgotten you're right here with me. I've been anxious, impatient, and at times discouraged. But today, I choose to believe that this hallway is not empty. It's filled with your presence. Teach me to stop pacing and start worshiping. Help me to trust that you are just as present in the delay as you are in the breakthrough. Make this hallway holy. Meet me here and make me whole. What part of your heart feels stuck in the hallway right now? How can you begin to see this space as sacred rather than stagnant? Can you shift your focus from the door to the God who walks with you until it opens? They that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. Isaiah 30:31. Even though I walk through the valley, you are with me. The Lord goes before you and will be with you. He will never leave you. Deuteronomy 31:8. Today, take time to name what you're waiting for, and then name how God has already shown up in the waiting. Write it down. Let it remind you. The hallway is not empty. It's holy, and you are not alone. Every powerful testimony begins in a place that once felt hopeless. Before the praise report, there was silence. Before the healing, there was pain. Before the open door, there was waiting. And it's easy to forget that when you're in the middle of your own delay. You look at someone else's breakthrough and think, why not me? Why not now? But every testimony that inspires you was once a story that broke someone, a story that made them question everything, a story that felt unfinished, unfair, unbearable, until God moved. That's what makes your current waiting so sacred. It's the place where your future testimony is being formed. The delay is not denying you, it's developing something deeper, something eternal. You are not stuck. You are standing in the soil of a miracle that hasn't bloomed yet. What feels like silence is actually the first sentence of the story you'll one day share to strengthen others. God is writing something in your waiting that will one day be told from a mountaintop. The frustration, the tears, the prayers you thought went unanswered, they're all part of the testimony being prepared. And when God brings you through, you won't just have relief. You'll have revelation. You'll know God in a way that casual comfort could never teach you. Testimonies aren't born in perfect places. They're born in pain, in the holding patterns, in the moments when all you could do was believe that God still sees, still cares, still moves. And He does, even now. The breakthrough may not be visible yet, but it's real, it's forming, and it will come in a way that leaves no doubt that it was God. So don't silence your story. Don't resent your wait. Don't rush out of what God is using to shape a deeper glory in you. One day, your story will encourage someone else in their hallway. Your endurance will become their courage. Your faith in the dark will become their flashlight. That's the beauty of God's redemption. He never wastes pain. He recycles it into purpose. You may not understand it now, but later you'll see how every moment had meaning, how the delay wasn't a detour, but a deepening, and how your story was never just about you. It was about His glory. So hold on, keep walking, keep showing up. Your testimony is being written with divine precision, and when it's ready, it will be beautiful, undeniable, and filled with the fingerprints of God. God, help me see this waiting season not as a punishment, but as the birthplace of my testimony. Remind me that every moment of silence, every unanswered prayer, and every delay is being woven into something that will reveal your faithfulness. I trust that what feels unfinished is actually unfolding. Use this part of my story to deepen my faith and one day bring light to someone else's darkness. Make me a vessel of hope in the very place that now feels hard. What past pain has God already used to encourage someone else? How might your current waiting be preparing you to carry someone else's burden with empathy and strength? Can you trust that your testimony is being written, even if you can't yet read the next line? They overcame by the blood of the Lamb and the word of their testimony. Revelation chapter 12, verse 11. You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good. Genesis 50:20. Let the redeemed of the Lord tell their story. Psalm 107:2. Today, write a letter to your future self, one who has seen the breakthrough. Let it be a reminder that the waiting was never wasted, and the testimony will be worth every tear. The pace of God often feels slower than our urgency demands. We want to run ahead, to push through, to see results now. But Psalm 23 reminds us of a truth that rarely aligns with our timeline. He leads me, not pushes, not rushes, leads, and His pace is never frantic. It is purposeful, gentle, timed to your healing, your growth, your becoming. If He's not running, you don't need to either. When God leads, it means He goes before you, clearing paths, calming storms, preparing hearts, and building strength you didn't even know you needed. Following Him means moving at His pace, not the world's. It means trusting that slower doesn't mean stagnant. It means learning to walk in rhythm with the shepherd, even when everything in you wants to sprint toward resolution. God isn't just trying to get you somewhere, He's walking with you into the fullness of who you're meant to be. We often mistake delay for denial because we're conditioned to believe that progress must be visible. But God's pace is not measured in productivity. It's measured in purpose. When He slows you down, He's not withholding, He's protecting, He's positioning. He's ensuring that what you receive won't crush you and who you become will be strong enough to hold what's coming. Think of the Israelites in the wilderness. What looked like wandering was actually preparation. God wasn't just delivering them from Egypt. He was delivering Egypt from them. He was teaching them how to trust, how to rest, how to follow. And He's doing the same with you. Slowness in God's kingdom is often a sign of sacred work. So if it feels like everyone is moving ahead and you're falling behind, take a deep breath. You're not behind. You're in step with heaven. When you align with God's pace, you learn to walk in peace. You're no longer bound to the tyranny of time or the pressure of comparison. You don't have to force open doors or chase what's not meant for you. You get to trust that the shepherd who leads you knows the terrain ahead. He sees the valleys, the cliffs, the detours, and He walks you through them with wisdom and love. Following His pace teaches you how to enjoy the journey, not just endure it. He frees you from hurry and anchors you in hope. It reminds you that you are not racing a clock. You are walking with a king, and He's not in a rush. He's after transformation, not just transportation. The question isn't how fast you're moving. It's whether you're following. God, I confess that I often want to outrun your process. I want results now, answers now, resolution now. But today I choose to slow down, to match my steps with yours, to believe that your timing is not a barrier, it's a blessing. Lead me gently, teach me to walk without panic, to move without pressure, to rest even in motion. I want to follow you, not just to the promise, but through the process. Where in your life do you feel like you're being left behind? How might God be using this slower place to protect or prepare you? Can you release the need to be fast and instead embrace the call to be faithful? He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. Since we live by the Spirit, let us keep in step with the Spirit. Better is one day in your courts than 1,000 elsewhere. Psalm 84, Tank. Today, take a literal slow walk with God. No phone, no rush, just breathe. Step then, listen, let Him set the rhythm. You are not late, you are being led. We often place invisible deadlines on God, timelines we never say aloud but feel deep in our bones. If you don't answer by next month, I'll break. If this doesn't happen soon, I'll give up. These mental clocks tick louder with every unanswered prayer, every unchanged situation, every silent day. But God doesn't operate on our urgency. He operates on His wisdom. And when our deadlines pass and nothing shifts, it can feel like we've been forgotten. But the truth is, His delay is not a dismissal, it's an invitation. To let go of our need for control, to surrender the false comfort of predictability, and to trust a God whose timing is rooted in eternity, not anxiety. Letting go of the deadline doesn't mean letting go of hope. It means letting go of the belief that God must act on your schedule in order to be good. His goodness isn't proven by speed, it's proven by faithfulness. There is peace that only comes when you release the clock, when you stop measuring your worth or God's care by how quickly things change. Letting go of the deadline means stepping into a new kind of freedom, the kind that says, even if it doesn't happen by when I hoped, I will still trust you. It's not a weak surrender, it's a strong declaration. It says, my faith is not dependent on outcomes, but rooted in your presence, where peace replaces panic, where joy returns even in uncertainty, where you stop waiting for the perfect moment and start living in the present grace of now. Because the truth is, deadlines often reveal our idols, our fear of missing out, our desire for control, our hidden belief that we know best. But when we release those expectations, we make space for God to do what only He can do, on His terms, in His timing, for His glory. Letting go of the deadline doesn't mean abandoning desire. It means handing desire back to God, open-handed, surrendered, and full of trust. It means trusting that when He says wait, it's not because He's cruel, but because He's crafting something better than your limited vision could ask for. When Lazarus died, everyone thought Jesus was late, but Jesus wasn't late. He was perfectly on time to reveal something deeper. Resurrection, not just healing. And that's what God is doing in you. He's not trying to disappoint you. He's setting you up for something beyond your imagination. And if you cling too tightly to your deadline, you might miss the wonder of what He's preparing. So today, loosen your grip. Breathe deeper. Let God surprise you. God, I release my timeline into your hands. I let go of the deadlines I've written in fear. I surrender the clock I've used to measure your goodness. You are not rushed. You are not pressured. You are perfect in all your ways. I trust that even when things feel slow, you are working. Even when my deadlines pass, your promises stand. Teach me to wait not with clenched fists, but with open hands. You are enough, even in the delay. Where have you been holding God to a deadline that He never agreed to? What would it feel like to trust His pace without needing Him to meet your schedule? Can you begin to see delay not as distance, but as deeper dependence? The Lord is good to those who wait for Him, to the soul who seeks Him. Wait for the Lord, be strong, and let your heart take courage. Publishing schedule. For the vision awaits its appointed time. If it seems slow, wait for it. It will surely come. Today, write down every deadline you've been clinging to, and then release them one by one in prayer. Burn the list if you must. Let your hope be rooted in God, not a calendar. His timing is better than your plan. You've been holding your breath for so long, waiting for the next answer, the next open door, the next sign that God is moving. And now, here in this sacred moment, you're invited to pause, to reflect, to receive. This is not the end of your waiting, but it is a holy checkpoint, a place to breathe again, to remember that God has walked with you every step, even when it felt silent. He has not been far. He has not ignored your tears. He has been shaping you through the slow, the still, the silent. And now, as you reflect, you are invited to notice how much has grown, how your soul has softened, how your trust has deepened, how, even in the absence of answers, you have found a deeper kind of peace. You are not who you were when this began, and that is evidence of grace. The waiting, you are invited now to return to stillness, not with frustration, but with faith, to stop striving, to stop begging, to let the Spirit hold what your words can't yet express. You've sown your tears, your time, your trust, and now, as you wait with Him, you are also being watched over by Him. Psalm 91 promises His covering. Psalm 23 promises His leading. They were never separate, just different sides of the same love. So reflect, receive, Wait with him, not ahead of him, not behind him, with him. You may still be in the in-between, but you are not alone in it. This space is sacred because he is in it. You are safe, you are seen, you are secure. And your next steps will be born not out of panic, but from the peace of being held by the one who knows your beginning and your end. God, I exhale all my anxious striving. I let go of every unmet expectation. I receive your peace. I receive your timing. I receive your presence here right now. I choose not just to wait for you, but to wait with you. You are my shepherd, my refuge, my father. Let my soul rest in your nearness. Let my faith rise not from what I see, but from who you are. You are enough for me today, tomorrow, and always. Where have you seen God shaping you in the waiting? What part of your soul feels more whole, more tender, more at peace than before? Can you receive the waiting itself as a gift, not just a delay? The Lord is my shepherd, I lack nothing. Psalm 23:1. He who dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. Psalm 91:1. Those who wait for the Lord shall renew their strength. Isaiah 40:31. Today, sit still for 5 minutes. No requests, no agenda. Just breathe. Just receive. Let his love find you in the quiet. Let this be your sacred rhythm. Reflect, receive, wait with him.